Here are 5 AI tools founders need to be using but currently aren't. Okay, welcome to the first app here, and this is going to be Glamma. Now, what Glamma allows you to do is compare a bunch of different LLM outputs, evaling them across your own personal tasks. So what this does is instead of going to multiple different providers, whether that's OpenAI API or just ChatGPT.com, Anthropic, Kimi, Moonshot, and all these other providers, you can access them in one central place, saving you an incredible amount of time and is really effective at running your own evals, especially for text-based outputs and text-based assignments you want to give your LLMs. So in this case, let's say I wanted to compare the output of LLM on building a sales pitch for my own website or my own sales call for designforusers.com. Link in the description, by the way. So what we'll do is we'll go to Grok 4 Fast Non-Reasoning, GLM, and then Sonnet 4.5, Haiku, which is really good at writing. And we'll also do, what is another popular one that, let's see, you know what? I think that's fine. And we can do GPT 4.1, which is normally deprecated, but a lot of these, Glamma tends to hold on until they pretty much deprecate the whole API. So you're able to access old models if you did have a preference for them. I know a lot of people like 4.1 at writing, or 4.5 too. They're all pretty solid. So let's say, and we're gonna have the sync button checked here. Now what that's gonna do is that's gonna allow us to basically copy our entire prompt across all these different LLMs. So I'll say, build me a sales pitch. So build me a sales pitch for a development agency that builds evals and agentic workflows for businesses across the world in technology space. Now you can see how fast Grok 4 is. That inference is insane. And we'll just side scroll across and we'll wait. So 4.5 is still working. We have Haiku with the output. And then we have GPT 4.1 asking for, I believe, some additional questions. Let's see. Nope. So then what you'll do is you'll just go through. GLM 4.5 is still thinking. So you'll just chat with these outputs. You'll really feel what kind of suits your business and the output that you're needing to without having to go to all 3 of these or 5 of these different providers in this case. And you can use it under one account, one place to go, and it's really awesome. I really love it for that task. In this case, let's kind of skim through these really quick. Grok is really underrated at writing. I really recommend people check that out. Haiku, I think, is still the best when it comes to writing and fast outputs and inference. Yeah, even just scrolling through this, I would continue working on the Haiku. 4.1, this doesn't look too great in my opinion. The other amazing thing that I really like to eval on Glamma as well as other kind of aggregation LLM apps is you're going to want to test your prompts. When you're building any sort of LLM AI-based application, a lot of your developer friends will probably tell you that once everything is built, you're going to spend a ton of time refining prompts and refining things that are going on under the hood even once your backend and frontend are completely built. And another thing to be aware of is that you never really know what's behind these APIs that you're requesting and hitting. For instance, OpenAI can serve you a different model versus what you had a couple weeks ago. Anthropic can do that. We've had a lot of things with degradation of quality of outputs, of model outputs coming in the previous months, stemming all the way from July. I know the Claude Code community had a lot of frustration. I luckily never really ran into that past a few weeks, but you also may notice increase of quality. So you need to go back and run these evals very frequently when you're building these tools. And they may be uploading different model checkpoints. They may tweak some things under the hood. They don't really need to let you know about that. That's in their terms of service. They're just serving you what they're going to serve you. You never really know unless you're hosting your own model. So in that case, if you want to keep track of performance, I recommend using something like Glamma to test out. Of course, use your own platform that you're building, but if you want to just get a rough feeling around the edges, that's why you would use something like Glamma to really eval those prompts. But the best use case for this that I recommend is also testing the structure of your prompts that you want to give in terms of system prompts to your application. You can just say, turn this prompt into a JSON format for optimal prompt adherence. And what you would do is you would just simply check the output and see if that is better. Build me a sales script for an agentic workflow development company. And then we're going to take the JSON output and then reroute it through, and then we'll see. Oh yeah, Claude Sonnet 4 just killed it. That output looks really good as a start. Goal, duration. And then let's just copy that. Okay. Now what I would do is I want to start fresh, completely fresh. I don't want to have anything in the context to get the best performance out of the language models here. So I'll just simply refresh the page and I'll do a new chat actually. So then we'll just copy this over and we'll see O3 Gemini 2.5 Pro. Just for demo purposes here, we're going to take a look at what it outputs. O3 is going to think for a long time. Gemini 2.5 should be a bit quicker. And just to be aware, there are no structured outputs under the hood going on here. So that's why you're going to see these M dashes and a lot of these characters that are just polluting the context window here. You'll obviously remove that in your own application, or you'll take it into another LLM chat and then tell it to remove all these extra characters. The output, the structured output here from Gemini 2.5 Pro is a lot better than this O3. That could just be how Glamma is handling it under the hood and what they have in terms of how they're receiving the output from the API. But that's Glamma in a nutshell, and we'll move on to the next tool. Okay, so the next tool we have is GPTZero.me. Now what GPTZero is, it is an AI LLM detector that will detect when text is outputted from an LLM. So if a sales agent, if a recruiter, if someone you're talking to on your team, you feel like they're relying too much on AI, or if you want to detect if a paper is written in AI, a scientific paper for instance, this would be the tool to do it. Is take the output of whatever the LLM that you're using is, or the email that you're writing, or the paper that you're writing, and you want to evaluate it based on GPT-Zero's output. It can't hallucinate, it can't say human writing has been AI and vice versa, but honestly with this new version, it feels like pretty rare to me. It will detect if it's output by an LLM. It's pretty simple. As we all know, the M dashes that come out of GPT are pretty notorious at this point. But if you were to scrub an LLM output, even put some spelling errors in there, this would still be able to detect it, and it can detect citations and stuff like that as well. This video is sponsored by my own company, Designed for Users. If you need help applying AI in your business, or you want to learn how to use these tools more effectively, go to designedforusers.com and we'll be happy to chat with you. Okay, so here we have Clay, which is my favorite go-to-market engineering tool I think we absolutely have access to here in 2025. It aggregates over 100 different sources, and some of the best ones like ZoomInfo as well as RocketReach, and you're able to get that in one central place and enrich all your data. So all of the leads that you scrape online, whether it's yourself or through another service, you're able to enrich them and find any kinds of holes and missing stuff in your data to get the highest quality leads possible, so to make sure that you're hitting the right person in your outreach here. What makes this so amazing is, like I mentioned, it aggregates over 100 different sources. You can bring your own API keys, but there's also your own Clay credits as a pretty agentic tool. You can see this chat box here. I'm able to just type in something, account research, and lead enrichment and stuff like that. I'll show you a really quick demo here, what I think demonstrates what makes this such a powerful tool. We'll just find some local businesses. Let's say I want to find some nightclubs in New York. So what I'll do is it'll default to New York here, and we can just expand this out, and we will go, oof, we're going into Jersey. Not sure I like that, but we'll do it for this demo just for that. So we'll keep it there. Search type, business types. We'll create a new table here. And then what we can do is we're able to find companies. And we can do company type. So we can just Command F here, company type. Let's do privately held. Then we can do the category, nightclub. Nightclubs and taverns, and then location, we'll make sure it's New York. New York City specifically. Okay, great. So as you can see, it resolved in real time. This is all stuff they probably had in their database. These are really big companies, as you can see, 5,000 and 10,000. But you could whittle this down and get to 100 employees, 5 employees, 10 employees if you're looking to target startups in your area. And it populates with the LinkedIn URL right there, and we can continue. And let's make this into a new table. Now, once it's into a new table, let's say there was some missing data, we're able to enrich that using all of their aggregate tools. It's probably using some Fire Enrich, probably using some stuff under the hood that is their own tools, and aggregating all of this, which is really cool. So you can enrich it for 1 credit per row. We'll just run 10 rows on this. And a very common enrichment, of course, would be finding the work email of someone. So let's find the work email. And here are the data providers that they have: Hunter, Data, Wizza. I haven't heard of all of these, but obviously I know Hunter. And then what is Find Email? So you will need your own API keys for a lot of this, but for some of them you won't. Sometimes it'll just be pretty solid with just the Clay keys. And of course, this is amazing for your AI agents if you're running go-to-market campaigns in a full agentic way. If that's something you're interested in, definitely go to our website, designedforusers.com, and we're happy to set it up for you. But with that being said, let's continue right here. So we will just find the full name of someone. Yeah, the name. All right. And what they mean by waterfall is it will go from provider to provider, source the best one, and then only give you the most accurate data after it's already checked all these providers. So that's why I like it. It saves me a ton of time, because before I would have to go to RocketReach, then I have to go to ZoomInfo, then I have to go to Spokio even sometimes, or who knows where I have to go to find all of the data for my leads. Clay does that work for me. I'm happy to pay them for it. This is a really cool tool. They're not paying me to say that, although they probably should. So let's go, save and run 10 rows. And you can see it just updates in real time. And it's really quick. So I can see the response here, the ICP of who they target, the result. That's us running a competitive analysis on this company. All in real time, you just saw that. We hit the competitors, trying to find the competitors here. We go back, find local businesses. That's what we were doing. And then you can see the follower count of each going from all their socials, and now it's sourcing their work email. But the research that we were doing was a competitive analysis. So if I go to Soft Bar and Cafe, we could find out their ICP, their personas, the reasoning behind it, and why they're trying to target it, and of course their industry. So that's what makes this tool so powerful. Check it out. It's really awesome for building agentic go-to-market experiences, like I mentioned. Easily the best and most unique tool we have today. There's one last thing I want to show you about it though. And it's that right at the front page here, we have a great agentic chat experience that everyone's familiar with of the past 3 years. You could simply type in, they like to call their tool Sculptor here. So let's just say, build me a list. Build me a list of bars. And it's the chat experience that everyone knows and loves. NYC, and let's see what pops up here. So as you can see, that's another quick way to get started sourcing leads and doing some research, all starting from the chat. AI design tool called Recraft. Bye-bye Figma. We're all tired of getting screwed over by Adobe for pricing. If you still design with Figma, that's okay, especially logos and vector graphics. You're gonna wanna use Recraft here. For UI design, there's still much better tools out there now rather than Figma. I prefer to use code myself, but there's another video for that we'll focus on in the future. Right now, we're gonna be focused on mainly vector graphics. If you're building stuff for slide decks or even logos, for instance, Recraft is easily the best tool nowadays to do this. And it's a model aggregator as well. So that's why I love these model aggregation tools, because as you advance in your work and you're completing more complex tasks, you're gonna need to be using multiple models to accomplish your goal. And instead of switching from provider to provider, these tools do provide a very important application layer that we do need, which is aggregating them all in one place, saving you tons of time, hours in the grand scheme of things, switching between back and forth, waiting for a response and stuff like that. So you're able to test all models in one central place. And then if you find one that really suits your need, then you can go direct to provider. So this is broken down into kind of categories. If you want a raster and vector graphics, photorealism, illustration, and stuff like that, that will affect what model you're going to use and the underlying system prompt. This does use prompt enhancements. So if I were to say, make this panda with an orange background, it will then take that and enhance the prompt, adding 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 sentences based on what it thinks my sentiment is and what I would want. So understanding semantically what I want and then enhancing it. So when you do look here, it will add a ton of other words behind the scenes, just so you're aware. So it is very important that you experiment with your prompts. If you're familiar with Midjourney, I'm sure you know all about that. The detail is in the prompt. So let's create something pretty interesting here. Let's find something that's really cool. Let's do an emotional flat. We'll apply that. Then you can edit your colors here. We'll just do a quite variation of colors. Avoid text and image. We'll just see a woman running. It's a very New York themed episode today, so we'll do a woman running across the street in New York. And what is so amazing is that this is an infinite canvas, so I could just scroll out and have a ton of generations, pick which one I like, and then keep iterating on it, which is really how generative AI should be used, especially in a design context, such as a Recraft here. So you're able to create a ton of things all at once. And then that was the first one. That was with this model. Now, all I have to do is click on the new frame here, and I'll just change the model, and we'll keep the same prompt. So you can see how easy it is to test things at scale here. So we'll just apply a vector art model. We'll generate that frame. Then we got a new one. We'll change it to being a graphic design style, a pop graphic. And let's see what we get here. So yeah, this is how you easily compare models. So what I mean with on the semantic prompt enhancement, you could see that from this image, you can see the underlying detailed prompt by clicking the extract prompt button here right on the screen. So this is a extremely long prompt. Of course, it has a great result because it's hyper detailed, which is really cool. And what if I wanted to remix this and variate it, you could decide on the variations, you can decide on all different kinds of things here. And the negative prompt, so the negative prompt is just telling it what you don't want to do, which is very important. When you're going for a very hyper-specific thing with Gen AI, using a negative prompt is very important. Happy to show you the last but not least amazing AI tool that founders absolutely need to be using in 2025 and in 2026, and that is Perplexity Comet. Now, Comet is a browser built on Chromium, which is very similar to Google Chrome, of course, in the name. That allows it to feel very familiar, very fast, and be pretty much interchangeable on the web. You can render all the websites you're used to. There's a lot of cool things on top of it that are what actually is powerful for founders. So if you're familiar with Perplexity, of course, it's a great AI search engine, combines all the models and stuff like that, but we're not talking about Perplexity, just the search service and LLMs and inferencing with them on Perplexity. We're going to be talking about the AI assistant and stuff you can do in the Perplexity browser. So let's get started here. There is a voice mode, which is really awesome. So I already have Whisper Flow on my computer, a video on that coming soon, but we can just talk to the Perplexity assistant here and you can hear it. So I'll turn up my volume and we can do that. Hey there, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm doing very well. Do you think you could find me some airline tickets to fly to Bermuda from Boston right now?
Sure. Flights from Boston to Bermuda in November 2025 start around $199 one way on JetBlue. You can also check Google Flights for more options starting around $295. You've got a few great choices available.
Great. Can you go ahead and book that for me through the assistant?
I can't book tickets directly for you, but I can guide you to the right page to complete the booking. Would you like me to open one of these airline booking pages for you?
Yes, sure. And as you can see, my browser opens right up right there. Pretty cool. Couldn't book it for me, although the Perplexity agent is able to fill out forms and stuff like that. So let's just go ahead and go to the assistant. So with the assistant open, you're able to actually chat with the web page that you're on. So JetBlue. So if I just say, is there any other deals? Is there any other deals of this flight that you can find? So they'll perform that. It has the context of what our flight is and where we're going. As you can see, it's recommending me Skyscanner and stuff like that. But this is really cool because you're also able to chat with web pages, talk to the assistant all natively, and the agent can go off and perform things for you, such as summarizing the web page and go. And I know there is a bit of trouble with Amazon where it's actually trying to check out items and purchase things on your behalf. We're not there yet in a seamless flow, but it's getting close. So let's just say, let's go back to the home page and let's have the assistant create a task here. And this is great for reports and stuff like that. We don't have anything yet. So we'll just do market research here. Model options. Let's see what best. Okay. Now we have a task, so we can do create projects from scratch. You're able to create simple projects like some sports calculations, tracking sports teams, doing some back of the napkin math, like tip calculators. You can build that all in Perplexity, which is pretty cool, which is their labs. There are some other ideas that people have built. Check it out. But what I use Perplexity for in Comet specifically is mainly all of those assistant features that you just saw there. That is really cool. So if we go back to the assistant, and you can ask it what it can do. So it understands its capabilities, and it can hallucinate some of the time, but it does understand its capabilities. So if we can just say, can you fill out a CSV for me? Perfect. So it could fill it out and then go to and then I'll just say go to Amazon and find me. Yeah, let the assistant browse for you. So here we go. We're going to let the assistant browse for me, always allow, and it's going to go off. And that's why you see this blue. You can see that's working. So here we have it in the browser. This is fully agentic flow. It's going to go to Amazon. It's going to find me a men's t-shirt in a size M. It doesn't have any of my payment info though. Okay, let's see what it does. Taking a screenshot. Of course, these agents work based off of screenshots and reading the DOM. I'm not exactly sure of how Perplexity Comment is doing it and what their secret sauce is, but I'm assuming it's a form of something like Playwright, reading the DOM, and then also maybe a different model just to understand computer use as well. So understanding the UI of the interface is very important in these tasks here. So it's still searching for it. It can take some time. But while this is working, I'm able to go off and perform other tasks. I just open up Cursor, go do something else, go get a coffee, whatever. It'll do the work for me. And that's why this is so amazing.